So in this group, they couldn't decide on what the mind was. They were going to fall apart. And I gave them the definition you probably heard me say a million times, but I'll just say it again, that the mind, an essential aspect of the mind or a core aspect of the mind, can be defined. But before I tell you what the definition is, I have to give you a warning. If tomorrow night you go to a party with a bunch of neuroscientists or philosophers of mind, and you say, hey, I had this incredible experience in the network, or I got a definition of the mind, this is the common response you will find. Having done this, I can tell you, and I want to warn you and protect you, since we're all in the same tribe. They will say, if you're a scientist of the mind, they won't have a definition of the mind, and they will say that the mind is not definable yet because that's why we're studying it. Which is a reasonable response if you're a scientist, right? And if you speak to philosophers of mind, they'll say, well, I say, look, I read your wonderful book on blah, 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 mind. You know, it has mind in the title. The whole entire book is about the mind. You're a philosopher of the mind. But I noticed you didn't define the mind. And one of them said, oh, yeah, like that. But another one, serious, I'm serious. These are all things that actually happen in public settings. The other one says, the mind should never be defined. I did that on purpose. I said, okay, why should you never define the mind, but you're a philosopher of the mind? He said, because if you define it, you limit it. So we're not going to define it. So I looked at him and I said, look, I'm a psychotherapist. Psyche means what? Soul. But the other synonyms are soul, intellect, spirit, and mind. So it's basically synonymous with mind. So I said, I'm a psychotherapist, a therapist of the mind. You think it's morally ethical for me to hang out a shingle and call myself a caretaker of the mind and not have a definition for the thing I'm taking care of? Like if someone says, my mind is really bothering me and I don't know what a mind is. What? Whoops. So before I give you the definition of the mind, I just want to warn you that tomorrow night when you go to that party with scientists of the mind and philosophers of mind, don't you always do that on Sunday nights? I want to warn you, don't be over-enthusiastic. Curb your enthusiasm, because you need to realize what we're about to do in the field of mental health is actually define the mental. I think it's time to stop the madness. We're all a part of a field that has no idea what it's doing. I'm really serious about that. So why don't we stop the madness? Why don't we just stop it right now? This is the end of the madness. Let's start a new era. I'm serious about that. And cultural evolution can happen like that. You kind of wake up and go, whoops, we're destroying the planet. Let's not do that. Or, whoops, I'm smoking cigarettes, giving myself cancer and heart disease. Maybe I'll stop. So this is akin to that. I really think it is. So here's the definition I gave them. Now you have your informed consent that if we do this as a field, we are going to take an incredibly bold step that is both against what the scientists do and against what the philosophers do, but I think it's the right thing. I think it's a necessary thing, and I think it's a really useful thing for us to do in the field of mental health, is define the mental and define the health part, which we'll do this morning, and weave that into the neurobiology of we thing.